That sounds really nice and healthy. Welcome back to Living with a Classic. I'm here with the Trading Up More. It's the second car in the Trading Up series. Started with a free car, a Renault Clio. Got that working, sold that, and then we got this, which is, I believe, a 1970 Morse 1300. Pretty close to get this thing inspected and back on the road. I've done engine mounts and things. Needs a service, but before that, I want to replace the fuel pump. Someone has put an aftermarket fuel pump, and it's not even mounted, and it's really noisy. And I found the original fuel pump laying in the back seat with some stuff. So I bought a rebuild kit for it, and hopefully after rebuild it works. I have no idea if it works now, but we'll put all new parts in it, see if that works. Let me show you what the old pump looks like. Then we have the pump we're rebuilding is on the bench, and yeah, we'll go from there. Let's go and have a look at the fuel pump. So, you see that? It's one of those facet pumps. Nothing really wrong with them. It's just because of that massive hole there, and you see why in a minute. The fuel pump that comes with these originally is pretty clever because the electric part is in here with the spare wheel and all the fuel part is on the outside. So, I mean, the facet pump I could just mount somewhere underneath the car and really be done with it, but then I have that hole. So I thought, you know what, let's rebuild the original pump. It's an SU pump. I really like those. And then I can put this on the shelf and use that for a project you're going to see in the future. But let's go to the bench and rebuild a pump. Here is the pump. And it looks very similar to a larger style SU pump, like something you'd find on my XJ6 or a Morris Minor or something. And all the parts inside seem very similar. It's a diaphragm. We have some points and things. And I hope I have all the parts I need. So this will be sort of interesting. It's a bit of exploratory surgery. I haven't done one of these. It looks like a smaller pump. Yeah, it feels like it has a different valve body than the big ones. If you want to see a video on the big ones, I'll try and link that down below. Rebuild the other ones, but this whole part of it feels very similar. This feels a little smaller, and then the valves in here feel a little different. But we'll grab some tools. And we'll get this open. It would be very nice to have the original pump in there, even though I'm selling the car on. I really like these style pumps. Okay. We will put these parts to the side. Yeah, it looks exactly the same. So we have the points in here, and then there's a diaphragm in here, and that gets screwed up into the points there. So let me grab my phone. My guess is either the points are bad, they look kind of burnt, or this thing leaks. Hopefully, you can see here, the one time that these are sort of hard to repair is if someone's tightened these too hard, because this is some sort of steel and the bottom is aluminum, and you can warp the bottom, and if you do that, they will leak. So hopefully no one's done that. But let's take it apart, see if it's like the Titanic on the inside or if it's actually savable. That wasn't too tight. Okay, before I take out the last screw, I'm going to grab this permanent marker. We're going to find a place to mark this up. Yeah, we can remove the marks later, but just so I know I get the orientation right when we put it all back together. Let's see. Oh, that came off nicely. There we have. Okay, so it seems like on the bigger pumps you can reach the one-way valves on the inside here, but it seems like you get to them out here instead. So that's just a gasket and the diaphragm. So it seems like I may have a spare gasket, so I need a diaphragm like that and a gasket like that. And then you see it's set up well now. We'll go through the setup procedure. Let me get this thing apart. Hoping nothing's burnt up in here. There we go. The spring, and then we have these little plastic clip in there, which we don't have any new ones in the kit, so we're going to reuse that. Yeah, smaller screwdriver. We'll get the top of the points out. And I'm just going to take a picture of the cables there, so I remember how it all goes back together. There we go. I mean, they're dirty, but I think that would have ran. Put the pin out. I wonder if the points are the same as for the big pumps. When we're done, I'm going to go grab one of my big pumps because I really do think that there's a difference. But I could be wrong. This feels smaller. Okay, got the points there. We'll put those to the side. So all of this will be getting new parts. Now we're on to the valve body part of it. Once again, I'm just going to take a picture just to get the orientation. There we go. Yep, there are the little valves in there. Let's see what comes in the kit. We got new plastic ends for that. We have, that's not for this. Could those be for here? Yes. Okay. I wish it came with valves, but I guess maybe they don't go bad that often. Guess what? I flipped this bag over. I didn't think much of it because I thought, it has one of these gaskets. I already have one. Well, it has everything I need. So that's good. Because when I got the screen off, this little plastic doohickey was sitting like that. So I'm guessing that's why I stopped using the pump, because I think it failed with one of the valves. So we have a new screen and everything, and gaskets, and how exciting. These are the same. That sits that way, and then it probably sits the opposite way there. So we can push this through. There we go. And that is actually nice and clean. So I think before I take the other one out so I know which way they go, I'm going to clean this part up. And then we'll reassemble it with new valves, new everything. So check your parts before you start getting too involved in things. It's not perfect, but it's a lot cleaner. It was under seal on it. So this one goes in there. We have a gasket, screen, and gasket. And then we'll do the other side, which then goes the other way. Nice thing is, now that I took the under seal off, I see that there's printings for inlet and outlet, because I was going to have to guess otherwise. On the bigger pumps, it's also printed, so I was guessing it was going to be there somewhere, but that was this way, right? Yeah. That way, and then just the gasket. So inlet, outlet. Then we have new ones of these. Go on, and yeah, I'll clean this up a little bit as well. So let me clean that up. I'll put these on, and then we'll put in a new diaphragm and points and see if this thing works. It's all back together. But as you can see, I've been sanding it a little bit here, just sandpaper here on the flat surface. And we have some low spots. So I'm going to get this completely flat, just so we get this nice and tight. I had an issue on the first SU pump I rebuilt when I was a teenager. It had a warped case and it always leaked. And well, you live and you learn. So I'll continue that, get this nice and flat. And then it's just time to move that over, the spring over, put the points in. I really, really hope this thing works. That looks a lot better. So I picked this gasket because it says original SU on it. We'll use that. We don't need these, so we'll get some spares. We'll need that. And then there's a plastic clip in here that you can usually lift out. We'll put that in there. And let's see. I'm gonna get new points. So that rod there, it threads up into the points, and you set your points gap with that. So we need the pin and all of this. You'll see this in great detail in my other video, so I will just put this together with the points, and then I'll show you this how you set the gap, and then we'll screw the rest of it together, and it should work. Points are in, cables up there, and I just started this thing. So you push it in, twist it, and you start winding it in. Then you need to use the top half of the points. If I can see where they went, there they are. These are just the same as automotive points like in your distributor. Don't touch the contact area if you can't avoid it. And if you ever want to do just a quick service on one of these, like it's not leaking, but you know, it was working yesterday, it's not working today, sort of thing. This top can be really quickly removed, clean. You can clean the contact area there, and that will usually, you know, get you going. Also, if you have a car with one of these style fuel pumps, an SU with points, and it sort of ran when you parked it, and then the month later doesn't want to, just give it a little tap with the power on it, and you know, with a hammer or the back of a jack handle or something, and it's going to start clicking, and then it will sort of self-clean the points a bit, and we'll get them going. So as you can see here, the points are opening, You want to screw this in until they no longer open. They're still opening. They're just opening, so let me take it back a little bit. They're opening. Barely opening. Still barely. See that? Let's take it back one notch. It's not opening. And then take it back something like a quarter of a turn or a notch. And the holes, let's see, do they line up? Yeah, there they line up, and it's opening perfectly. New gasket on here. Set this up. Then I'm going to get a power supply. We'll hook up some power to this thing and hope to hear the familiar tick 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 of an SU pump. Got battery hooked up here, so let us hit anywhere on the body will be earth. So that sounds really nice and healthy. Good fuel pump. Perfect. We'll mount this in the car, but before that I want to drain the fuel out of the fuel tank. What I've done here is just disconnected the fuel line from the carb. Put that in a small gas can. There isn't much in the tank. I thought we'd use the old pump to pump what's in there out. Maximum should be that amount, 5 liters. I don't really think there's more than that. I also had a look. The fuel line looks pretty good inside this braided protective sleeve here. But I'm going to go to the parts store later and pick up some new fuel lines for this thing. And let's just turn on the ignition. You also get to hear how noisy this pump is. Hear that? It's pretty noisy back here. Let's see if we're getting a good flow. Yeah, I can hear it. Yep. So let me just empty out the tank. And then we can start mounting the pump in the car where it's supposed to be. Pump's making different noise now, so let's see. Yep, stop flowing. Turn the ignition off. And at least we mostly empty the tank now. Alright, so got the old pump out here and ran new fuel lines here and put them inside the braids here. I think those are pretty good protective because it's all under here. Inlet, outlet goes here in the pump. I found behind here the ground wire that goes on here, so I cleaned that up, put that there. Here's the positive that goes onto it. So I'm going to try and get these connections on, slide this in, screw it in. I have 2 of the screws at least, see if I can find another one. Get this pump in, and we'll add some fuel and check for leaks. It's all together now, connected up. And up front, I'm going to replace the fuel hose, but I need to wait till I run to the parts store because this is highly temporary. I want a filter up here, but I want a metal one, not a plastic one. So I'm going to pick up a metal filter, probably put that over here somewhere, and then I'll run a new fuel line. But this is just to have a filter in there, not to get any dirt into that carb. And yeah, so I'm going to put the battery back in, put some fuel on it, turn the key. Let's see if it works. Let's see how it does. Okay, I can hear. And should just be holding pressure now, just like a normal SU pump. We'll do a quick little sniff test. See if we have any leaks. All seems pretty good. Probably hasn't brought fuel up that far just because probably the bowl probably still full and then the needle is closing everything off. But let's Let's just make sure that we're... Oh, I'm not seeing anything that looks wet or new on the floor. Let's fire it up, let it run for a little bit, and see if it continues pumping new fuel up into the engine. Give it some choke. Well, it seems good. Let's go back and hear what that fuel pump sounds like. I hear it, ticking sometimes, but that is just like SU pumps. It's really nice and quiet once it's running. This thing does have a lovely exhaust sound. Perfect. No leaks anywhere. Like I said, that is just temporary for now, but I don't want to get any dirt into the car. One more thing I can check off the list. Have the original pump in there. Technically not really that necessary, but I really like when things are original, and also I don't like noisy fuel pumps. I hate that. So nice quiet fuel pump in there. Everything is tight and working well. That's what's great about old things. You can get a rebuild kit, rebuild it, and it's as good as new. So now, a couple things left to do. I want to look over the brakes. They seem to work, but just look over them. As you see, the car is solid underneath. We've seen it in a previous video. There's some surface rust, so I just want to treat that and put some undercoating on it to make it look nice and make it last. And then oil change, and I think we're going to change coolant and possibly change coolant hoses. They look a little old, so let me actually get on the phone right now with a parts supply, see if I can get some hoses. So hoses, coolant, engine oil, and filter. And then I think we're pretty much, oh yeah, some electric left to fix. I don't think we have side lights and something else. So just go through the electrics a little bit, and then I think this thing is ready to be back on the road. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Till next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.